Okay, 6 o'clock on the nose, so we're gonna get started. We'll leave the back doors open in case we have any stragglers in here. So thanks for coming tonight, you guys. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to come in and have a visit with me. The reason why we decided to host this tonight was because we had a lot of parents asking me the same question over. So I thought, you know what, let's just come together and talk about it so everyone is on the same page. A lot of this information that I'm gonna go over tonight, Mr. Chase and I went into the classroom and discussed it with students. I'm not sure, maybe your child wasn't here, so they missed it, but so a lot of it will be repeat information for them. But it's really important for parents to understand what the process is as well, so you can help guide your child, okay? So it's called High School for Parents because a lot of things have changed over the years, since we were in high school, and it's a whole different setup now. So just the question of the day, of course, is what courses should my child take? Well, that's going to depend on where their direction is. But the biggest message I need to get across to you guys today is that you need to pick the right course for you. This isn't about achieving a goal for your parents. This is achieving a goal for your success, okay? And being realistic about what you can achieve is the biggest thing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what a traditional high school looks like and what we look like and what the difference is, okay? So when we talk about choosing the right course for your academic level, in a traditional high school, you have different streams that you can take in high school. There's a -1, there's -2, and there's -3 levels. Here at STEM, we actually only do -1, or the highest academic level that you can take in high school. So if for some reason you fall into those other categories, you need to stop and reflect and see if this is a good fit for you, okay? So this is why I'm talking a little bit about traditional high schools as well, just so you understand what the difference is. And it's not that one is better than the other, it's just whatever the fit is for you. So all high schools have the same academic requirements, okay? It doesn't matter if you're a traditional public school or public charter school. Alberta mandate is this. So with that being said, the goal in high school is to achieve 100 credits by the time you start in grade 10 and you finish in grade 12. But the secret is not just about achieving 100, it's about achieving those 100 credits in these specific categories. Because I've had students in the past that were in grade 12 in their first semester, they had 120 credits, but they still didn't do their comm class yet. So guess what? They weren't on the graduation list because they hadn't completed comm. So then they were doing the comm of shame in semester 2 because that was the only thing they were missing in order to get their high school diploma. I have even seen students not graduate because they were missing a course. So that meant they would have to go to summer school the following summer or upgrade at a different facility. So it's not just about achieving the 100. It's really important. I cannot stress that enough. It's not just 100 total. It's in each category. Okay. So when we look at the cores are the easy one because we know that in grade 10, they're going to start with English, social, math, and science. Right? Those are cores. It's not negotiable. It doesn't matter what school you go to, you have to take these courses. It's not an option. When you're in grade 10, the level starts at 10. When you go into grade 11, it then becomes 20 level. When you go into grade 12, it becomes a 30 level course. Now this is important because the 30 level is what you need for university. Okay? In English and social, you have to take them all the way through to a 30 level. Again, non-negotiable, every high school is exactly the same. In math and science, if you're just trying to achieve a high school diploma and that's your only goal, you're not thinking about university, you just want to get your high school diploma, you can actually graduate with a math 20 and a science 20. So we're going to assume we've done the social here, and we've moved social over to the 30. You do not have to take a math and science to a 30 level if you're only trying to meet grad requirements. That's not an option here. At STEM, it's mandatory. We make it mandatory that you need to take these courses to a 30 level. If you go to a traditional high school, you will need to, if you choose not to, okay? This will not get you into university. Then you have your phys ed and comm. Phys ed and comm are mandatory at 3 credits. So let me back up a little second here. Each one of these courses are worth 5 credits. That's how we start calculating our 100 credits. Okay, so we know that at the end of here, sorry, I'm writing out of the board. Said I needed a board.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have a big enough.
I got you the small one, but it's not the big one that I know.
So at the end of this, grade 10, 11, and 12, you'll have 15 credits in English, right? Makes sense? 5 credits per course. Same in social. So you're at 30 now. These, if you only meet grad requirements, you'll have 10 for each. But you will go to 30 if you stay with STEM. So you'll have 50. Okay. Now this total represents this being at a 10, because this is just talking about grad requirements. That's it, right? The minimum. So that's where you'll get the 100. You'll have an extra 10 if you do the math following the board. But just remember, it's just this level that you have to go. So phys ed and comm are the other 2 requirements. Now you only need a phys ed 3 credit to graduate. Okay. In a lot of the traditional school, the high schools that you go to, you can actually do a 5 credit phys ed 10, 5 credit phys ed 20, and a 5 credit phys ed 30. We aren't doing that at this point. We are only offering what you need for grad requirements, which is a phys ed 10, 3 credits. Now, you can see that a 3 credit and 5 is very different. So a 5 credit fills up a full block for a student. A 3 credit wouldn't. It would only be every other day. So we had to match it with comm. So comm is a 3 credit also for grade 10. So one day they'll do phys ed, the next day they'll do the comm class, and then they will achieve their requirements. Does that make sense? Yes.
Can they take phys ed and comm through Metro? Or are you building it specifically into your schedule?
Correct. So there's well, 2 answers to that question. Yes, right now, as we are in our transition year for high school, we did build it into our schedule. So all grade 10s needed to take it this year.
Okay.
Going forward, we are looking at the possibility of offering it at our school for summer, but that's not in place yet. So I cannot give you that information for sure, but there has been discussion about it.
So if our kids are going into grade 10 then, starting September, they will be taking it as part of their course.
At this point, that's, yeah. Okay, so that is mandatory. Doesn't matter where you take it. The only nice thing is that if you are in a traditional school, you can, if you love phys ed, you can do the 10, 20, 30. That's the advantage of that piece. Then you would have to take your comm separately in a different, with another course. But we don't offer that here. This is how we're running it. So that's that. 10 credits for CTS. Career Technology Studies. Those are what we call our option courses. So you also need 10 credits at any other option courses. Now that could be your grade 10 year, because how many courses are you taking for options this year? 4. So they're each one is worth 5. So he's already got his CTS credits in grade 10. That's? Yes. Yeah, great. Thank you. Then you also need 10 credits in other 30 level courses. So we already have our CTS because we've got our 4 options in grade 10. That's out of the way. We're up 10 credits now, but that can go down here in other. But now we need 10 more credits at a 30 level other than these categories, because we already looked at those. Those are already check marked off, right? Remember I said it was really important that it's each category. So in your 30 level courses, other than the ones we listed, what else could qualify for that? Anyone want to take a shot? Any of your grade 12 courses. Could be bio 30, could be chem 30, could be psychology 30, any of those. You just need 2 more courses at a 30 level to meet that criteria for 10 credits at 30 level. Yes? So if any of you are doing the math, you know we aren't at 100 yet, right? So we've covered all of these categories. Now we have other. At STEM, we are not offering spares in grade 10 and 11. Maybe by grade 12, we haven't decided yet. I'm not in favor of spares because I feel like it's a missed opportunity for students to do courses, even options, that they may not be able to access at university. But we'll see about grade 12 for spares, but there will be spares for 10 and 11. So with that being said, students are gonna have a full timetable, right? Because we know they're already registered in these ones, these top 4, because they have to, but they still have 4 other courses that they can do. So those can be option courses if they choose not to do all the science. Some students will maybe decide only to do bio 20 and bio 30. Other students will decide to do bio, chem, physics 20 and 30 all the way through. So not having those spares allows you to fit all 3 sciences into your timetable. Yes.
What's a spare? Exactly.
It means they don't have a class. So they'll have a block, so maybe block 3, they don't have a class. And they tell me they're gonna go do homework, but it's just a free time.
Yeah, I like it.
No.
Not my kid.
Exactly. So that's why most schools won't allow students to have spares in grade 10 anyway. It's pretty common. Sometimes by grade 11, depending on what their journey is, they will allow spares, but we are not in 10 and 11, and we see what grade 12 brings. Again, we're a closed campus here, so there's really, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go if you have a spare, right? Anyway, okay, so any other courses that you're taking in those that do not fall in this area goes into other. So you can see right now, if you did all 3 sciences, you've got every credit that you need and then some, because you have no spares in your schedule. So that's how you achieve the 100 credits. Any questions before I move on about that? That makes sense? Yeah.
So for the 30 level courses, we need 2. So since STEM makes you math 30 and science 30, then that also disqualifies.
Those would be the 2 extra.
Yeah, and those can go
Yeah.
down in there.
The only 2 that you can't use are English and social, because those ones are expected to go all the way, but after that, your sciences count, math counts, math 31 would count.
And like I said, the English and the social, math and science, those are easy because you know you have to take them. You know you're gonna get your credits for those, and you know that at STEM, you're gonna do all 3 of them, so you're getting 15 in each level, non-negotiable. It's when you get it down into these ones that it becomes more of a bit of a, well, it's not, because you're not gonna have a spare, so you're gonna have plenty of time to do it, so it's not gonna be a gamble. You're gonna know you're gonna cover those. So anything after these are covered, we throw down into this category. Okay, and 24, again, like I said, it's super easy. If you have no spares, there's no reason why you would not have more than enough credits for graduation purpose.
And one thing we always say is, this is assuming you're passing all your courses.
That's right.
The first time, because 121 credits would be if you took a full schedule and you passed everything, you'd be 21 credits over. Assuming you're passing everything.
All right, definitely, that's really good. Because of course, our conversation is based on the fact that you're gonna be passing everything. If for some reason, let's put that out there. Let's just say that you do get to grade 12 and you didn't do well in English 30 and you didn't pass the course.
Yeah.
You're missing those credits. You gotta figure out where you're gonna do it. So, you're either gonna be doing it in summer school or you're gonna be returning to another school. Or you redo the course if you're lucky enough and you actually, maybe English was a bad example. Let's say you failed something in grade 11, you can redo it in grade 12, right? So there's different scenarios that you can play out here, but the reality is if you don't pass the course, you need to redo it somewhere because you have to have that credit. It's not, you can't pick it up from something else. Yes.
What's the passing rate? And then get a discussion, this is like, if the grade is low and you want to get a bigger grade or.
If you want to upgrade?
Yeah, do you do it again?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. So you only get to use one of the marks for university though, right? So let's just hypothetically say, yeah, you redid a course in grade 12, you did, I don't know, what do you want to use? Let's use math. You did math, you fast track math 30 in your second semester in grade 11, and then you wanted to redo it again in grade 12 to see if you could get a better mark. Universities will take the higher of the 2 marks, but you only get to use them once. You cannot use it twice.
Meaning you can't get like 6 credits.
Yes, no.
I'm doing 100% feedback.
Yes, you can only benefit from the mark, not the credit. Yes. The passing grade, according to
Good question.
Alberta Ed,
It's technical, yeah.
is 50%, but you are not getting into university with a 50%. That's the reality. So we are going to go a little bit further into that. So any more questions about this? I just want to move. Yeah, go ahead. We're gonna get to that. So I like this comment because sometimes students think that it's better to take a -1 subject and like surviving it. But the reality is, if you're not a -1 student, you're better off to be a -2 and be successful. Okay, and again, I know we don't offer -2, but I just need to put it out there that sometimes we need to be realistic with what our goals are. And you're not going to be more successful if you should be here, but you're trying to achieve here. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's just depending on what your goals are at the end. A lot of the universities now, depending on what program you're going into, will accept some -2 courses, not everything, but they will accept some. You have to look at the big picture.
Sit down one. This all hinges on, as long as the course is accepted for entrance, a -2 course might be better off than a -1 course. But you have to know what your requirements are for the program you want in university. If they say -2 courses are acceptable and you get a 95 on that course, that's a 95 in your pocket. But if you got a 70 on the -1 course, that's a 70 in your pocket. And it's not better to have that than the 95.
Again, knowing that we do only offer the -1, but sometimes the reality is you're going to have more success in a -2 stream or a course that you are, you know, more apt to get higher, being 65%. The recommendations, if you are sitting at an English social 10-1 and you're coming in lower than a 65, you're gonna struggle in a -1 stream, 100%. Okay. So that's when, in a typical traditional high school, that's when I would be recommending to go to a -2 stream. You could do an English -2 in 10 and 20 and move into a 30-2 in second semester and upgrade to a 30-1 in your grade 12 year. Not here, but in the traditional school. So you could still see that success at a 30-1 level for university requirement, but your journey getting there looks different. Because you cannot jump from here to here and expect that you're going to be at your best. You need to carve out that path so that you have a nice transition to where you need to be. And some students take 4 years. Some students have to go and upgrade. It doesn't matter. It's whatever it means for you to be successful, right? So this is just kind of a, yeah. So the 30-1 is recommended for university. There's very few courses at the U of A that you're going to get into with 80% lower with an English. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm just saying there are not many. So when we say you need only 50% to pass, if you're only trying to achieve just a high school diploma, that'll work for you. Maybe you're gonna go, yep, year 4, I'm gonna go and upgrade, or maybe I'm just gonna take a break from high school and I'll go back, you know, later on and do better, or whatever your story is. It's possible. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever the fit is for you. But if you're trying to achieve university, 50% is not going to cut it. So you're going to be needing to go into your courses with at least a 65% in a -1 to see success. And that's not just my personal opinion. That's facts. You will struggle. Now you can get tutors, you can get supports. Absolutely, it's possible. I mean, you know, a lot of parents are really supportive in helping their kids get through that, and you can improve your marks, definitely. But if you're walking in lower than 65 in any of your core subjects, be prepared to work hard. Okay. Any questions about that?
So on your point about what's a passing grade is like, yep, you pass with the 50%, but then if you pass social 10-1 with a 50, you're going to move on to 20-1, and that's also going to be hard. you'd like a 65 at every stage to move on to the -1 in the next year. So it's not so simple as just passing. You wanna thrive, not just survive in the -1.
That's right. You're building a foundation. It's like anything, you can refer to anything in our life. If you don't have a strong foundation, it's really hard to go up, right? So you want to be strong going in instead of the opposite, because it's just that much harder for you. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, it just means it's a lot harder. Okay. So this is just a breakdown of what really can you expect in different streams, okay? So a -2 streams, just if you still have to meet the curriculum. You're still a guideline that you have to follow. It doesn't matter if you're -1 or -2. It just means the way the content is presented is different. So in a -2 program, it's definitely, you're gonna have more time in the classroom to do your stuff. So you'll have extra time to do assignments. You'll have 1 novel instead of 2 novels, that sort of thing, right? So it's the same outline. You're still gonna be doing poetry, whether you're in -2 or -1, you're not gonna get away from that piece. It just means you won't do as much of it. So in a -1 stream, the levels of higher reading comprehension, homework, and higher expectations. And that's why at STEM, we are -1. We are already expecting the best out of our kids. And our expectations are high. It's an enriched program because we know the -1, that's what it requires for success for university. This is just kind of a repeat of what I've already been saying. Again, just know where you should be and make the right decision for you. It's not a right or wrong or better or worse situation. It's what fits for you as a student, okay? So sciences, same thing. So if you're just trying to meet graduation purposes, remember I was talking about over here where your math and sciences, you actually only have to take it to a 20 level. In some of the traditional high schools, they will move you into what's called a science 14, and then 24 is the next level. And that just means grad requirements. But if you are trying to do all of your 3 sciences, this is not okay. You cannot do that. That will not work for being able to move over into these. So some of you, when you're doing your science 10 in your first year, you need to go, your goal has to be 65 and higher for you to be able to branch out into a biochem and physics. You don't have to do all 3 sciences if you choose not to. You can only choose 1, you can choose 2, or you can choose 3. My recommendation is whatever you choose, see them through to the 30 level, because those are going to be the ones that you're going to need for university. Those 3 sciences are going to make or break it when you apply. That's going to give you a wide window of opportunities in university because you're going to already have that foundation going forward, and you're going to be probably able to apply for just about anything if you're in those 80% in your sciences. Because at university, you need your English, you need the social, you can choose any of your 3 sciences, and depending on the program you're going into, you can also use those CTS credits we were talking about. So like if you did sports medicine and you decided to go kinesiology, you can use a phys ed 30. Right, so that's a CTS, and that raises your GPA for university, because guess what? You're probably getting a 90 in phys ed 30, right? So those things you have to think about as well when you have the opportunity to take some options depending on your path. It really depends on the program you're trying to get into. So it's not just one blanket conversation I can have with you and say, oh, do this, because it's not going to work for every one of you here. So it's very personal. You have to figure out what your path is, and then you need to investigate. And if you need that phys ed 30 to boost your GPA so you can get into kinesiology, then you better make sure that's part of your path, right? Does that make sense? So again, my recommendation is when you choose your sciences, whether it's 1 or 3, see it through to the 30 level, because that will be used for your university requirement. Kind of repeating myself a little bit there, but again, I just really needed you guys to stop and pause and think about the importance of the streams that you guys are looking at. Okay, it's really important that you know your journey before you start it. Okay, so this goes into a little bit about what if you struggle with math, you might need some extra support if you're gonna be taking Chem 20. And that's just something that's really good to know ahead of time, going, well, okay, maybe Chem isn't going to be my strong suit. So maybe I'll just do the bio. Maybe bio is good enough for my journey and that's going to work fine for me, right? Physics, of course, requires students to have a strong foundation in math and algebra. So somebody asked me about Math 31. We are talking about that as well. I cannot confirm that today, but yes, we have been talking about offering a 31 and maybe a 35. But 12, we're trying to get built for 11. So 12 is just still on the. Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot you had your hand up and I forgot to come back to you.
I was gonna ask if like the universities will figure 11, 12 grades or the.
Yeah. Good question. So I was gonna get to that, but I'll jump into that now. So when we have universities that are gonna start to come visit the school starting in March. So we have 4 now that are booked right now. They're gonna come in and talk to you guys, 9s and 10s going, sorry, I need some dry throat. They're gonna come in and talk to students about what is required. Now, when kids start to think about applying for universities, typically will do it in their grade 12 year in the fall. Which means they're looking at grade 11 marks because you haven't completed grade 12 yet, right? So they can't base it on that. So they'll look at your grade 11 marks and they'll give you what is called a conditional acceptance. So they'll say, okay, in grade 11, math, science, English, social, you're sitting about 90s. Okay, so we're saying to you, if in grade 12, when you finish all your courses and you give us your transcript, if you still are in the 90s, you're accepted, we'll take you. If you are not, then it's declined and you have to reapply. Okay, so that's a really good question. So they do look at your grade 11 marks, not your grade 10.
Okay.
Which is really funny, but
I don't consider grade and marks at all.
well, it's not that they don't, it's just that that's a transition year, so they're not going to make this decision based on what.
There's more reasons.
Yeah,
Information.
exactly, so it's more useful information.
Oh. He's watching from home, yeah. So our principal has said that, yes, capital letters, we will be offering math 31, so that's.
Yeah. I wanted to ask that, that's one of the requirements for U of A, right? For anything technical, they do specific.
It's
Calculus.
for sure, one depending on the program you're going into, it's not mandatory, the engineering, it won't be mandatory, it's highly suggested, there's a big difference. It's not mandatory, mandatory is very different than a highly recommended. I recommend if you're going into engineering, yes, you should be taking it, because you're going to be lost in your first year if you're not. But the university will take you, depending on which one. We have used SAS schedule to talk to us about their engineering program. So we will get them to explain more to students as well. But yeah, so it is a recommendation. So, and they look at your grade 11 marks, okay? But conditional acceptance, and it is worth applying early. So you do get the opportunity for early application, and I advise you to take it. Apply early. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say, no, you didn't qualify. You wait for your transcripts, take a look at your marks, say, oh, well, okay, I guess English needed to be a bit higher. I'm going to upgrade over the summer, and you reapply. Okay, but it does make sense to apply early. And really all it's doing is it's holding a seat for that student. They're saying, okay, we're going to hold that seat for you until you prove to us that you're going to meet the criteria, then that seat's yours. So you have nothing to lose, really. Okay. Great. And again, the course bio is a good course for students who are stronger in the humanities and written work than in math. So this was just to kind of give you a bit of an idea of where your strengths are. So when you're choosing your sciences, you can kind of have a good idea what you should be good at. Yeah.
What do you mean by humanities?
English and social. Yes.
Can you please have them grade 11 physics 20 and then second semester physics 30? Will you allow that?
We will if we can. So again, we're just building our numbers for 11 and whatnot, but we have had lots of conversation around what that would look like. In a perfect world, yes, I would like to be able to offer a higher level in the second semester, but as we all know, it's going to be based on our enrollment and what we can offer here in the school. So yes, it has been discussed, and I hope, wait and see if Aaron replies to that. But yes, so I would like to do that, yeah.
Okay, so that kind of answers my question, because is that grade 11 grades, so meaning like it's level like 20?
That's right.
So like.
That's right, so you let's just take English for an example, so you would take English in semester 1 of grade 10, and then in semester 2, you want to fast track and you want to do 20 right away. But with every fast tracking, I have to caution you, if you fast track, carry this out. Let's just say you're doing English 30-1 in grade 11. You don't see English now until you're in university. What do you think's gonna happen? You're gonna struggle, right? Because you haven't seen English information for a year and a half now. So fast tracking isn't always the answer. Now, English and social might be one that would be an exception because it's humanities, it's a reading comprehension piece. Maybe you could get away with that. But in your math and sciences, if you're going into engineering and you don't see chem for a year and a half, it's gonna be tough when you get into that first year of university because you're just not, I mean, look at what we forget in the summer. What are we gonna do in a year and a half? So I caution the fast tracking piece for those reasons.
Yeah, fast track if you then want to take the next hardest one after, like fast track math, if you then want to take math 31 in the
That's
final
right.
semester.
Yeah, good example, yes.
It's offering everything, or,
You audit a class?
yeah, we offering that.
Why would you want to?
Just then, like, get the refreshers. Love it.
Yeah, but then you're losing out on the option of taking something else.
You should just take it again and get a better
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. I guess it would be case by case. If you wanted to audit a class, we would really have to figure out what the purpose is. If you had all your credits and you were, above average and on track for graduation, I mean, we could have that conversation. But I'm not a fan of auditing the class unless there's logic behind it. Yeah. Yes.
Do the students choose their classes, or the school will just say you're in English first semester, social first semester?
No, they'll get a chance to choose. So you have to keep in mind what happens with that is we will send out a course selection. Students will fill out their course request. We enter into the computer. The computer will generate their timetable. Now, depending on how many options we can offer and how many times in a week we can offer, it could be a conflict. It might not balance well. So then what we would have to do is sit down and try to do a manual balance of the courses so we could get all those courses in there somehow of what you wanted. But there could be conflict with their choices. So yes, they get to choose, but if we can't make it happen because there's no psychology course offered in that spot and they have to have math 30, then no, they couldn't choose their option, right? So, but we would work with them manually to make those changes, yeah. Yes.
How will our timetables be scheduled?
Yeah, good question, because I was just gonna talk to that, and I should tell you guys, because I don't know if parents are aware of this. So for next year, we are going to the traditional high school schedule. This year was a transition year. It was a little bit complicated, but we made it work. But next year, we are going to a traditional one of 2 semesters. They'll have 4 courses per semester, 2 cores, 2 option in semester 1. They'll write their exams, they're done. Semester 2, they pick up their other 4, again, 2 cores and 2 options. Okay, so they'll get more options, which is a typical high school schedule for sure. And we try to balance those courses when we build them because I don't want students to have both their humanity courses in semester 1, so they're writing in social and English in semester 1, and next one they're doing science and math. So we try to split it up. That there's social 1 semester, semester 2 would be English. Math semester 1, science semester 2, and then their options, it's up to them. So we do try to balance it so it's a healthy balance for them.
They might have to sacrifice an option to take all 3 sciences, for example. So
Yeah.
2 cores, two options may not work for everybody, but if you're going to take all 3 sciences, you might only get 1 true option, CTS option every year. You might have to take more science in your schedule.
But in grade 10, you're gonna have your 2 options your 2 CTS credits out of the way anyway. So you can take more options or you can take all your sciences. It's your own bill. Yes.
So in order to, like, if you wanted to do an extra course, do you guys have modules in it?
No, not yet. Yeah. That's not something that we're thinking about at this point, but never say no.
For like single credit modules, CPS based or,
No, like,
Logical
bring up like
courses.
math.
oh, like
So you find credits, but it
Yeah.
will just. in the book.
at your own pace?
Yeah,
You don't have that.
No. So speaking of math. Okay, so again, I just wanted to show you guys this. This is just about giving you guys the information and letting you make your decisions according to what you and your child decides to do, okay? But it does give you a nice little breakdown on your path and where you should be. So this is where we are here. This is where STEM is here, okay? But these are other possibilities that you can do, but it won't be here. That's a traditional high school schedule for math. If math is not your thing, which math tends to be not for a lot of people, not in this crew though. Our school is great in math. But yeah, so you do have options is my point, but we are on this journey. So it does say 70 here. Do we have students coming into grade 10 that are lower than 7? Yeah, we do. But again, it goes back to that conversation of if you're lower than a 65%, you're going to have struggles as you move forward because you're missing that key foundation here. Right? You need, especially with math, it builds. So we give those percentages as a guideline, but we do have students that are just under that and they still make it. They get the extra help. They do what they need to do to get their marks up, but that is the journey that we are planning on taking. But those are your options. And again, nothing wrong with any of them. Everybody has their own little journey and how they get there is up to you. Okay, so this just kind of goes again into the explanation of, so 10C foundations is basically another word for 10-2. And then of course, 10-1C is just pre-calculus, it's 10-1, okay? It's you'll just hear different terms depending on where you are and who you're talking to, but that's basically it. Again, we stick to our percentages here that for success, we want to see that 65 is kind of that range that we know we can see growth and success in students. Anything lower, be prepared. If you want to be in that 10-1, you're going to have to get supports in place, okay? And again, providing everyone passes and you're doing your thing, that allows you to move on into the next levels. Up to the Math 31, that has been confirmed that we are doing. Any questions about the math? No? Okay. Okay, so somebody was asking about modules and stuff like this. We do not do this here again. Just showing you guys options. This is what's out there in the world at other high schools. If for some reason you're struggling with achieving those 100 credits, there is other things that you can do in a traditional high school environment. You can use work experience credits to get your goal. You could do a RAP program to get your 100 credits. We do not offer that here because we are a -1 academic stream. So you would not need this because you will already be on that path for 100 credits, right? Because you've got your sciences and you've got your math. You have an extra math and your 3 sciences. But I wanted to give you guys the information so you have it and do with it what you know. Okay, so we don't do AP classes because we already feel we're at that level. We are an enriched -1 program already, which is what AP is. So AP is basically a program that is purchased to be given to taught, delivered, there's the word I'm looking for, thank you, in the school. It's not part of the Alberta curriculum, because we already looked at that. We know what we need to do to get our 100 credits. The AP is something extra, okay? It's an advanced level. So because STEM is an enriched program already, we already say we're at that level of AP. But I will share with you what the advantage of with an AP is. Not a lot. So what would happen in university is that you have to keep in mind, you got 2 marks, but you also have to write 2 exams for it. So every time you write 1 for a class, you gotta write 1 for AP. So at the end of the day, the universities will look at your classroom mark in math, they'll pick on math again, and they'll look at your AP mark in math, your second exam that you wrote, and they'll choose the one that's the highest. So if your classroom mark is higher in math than your AP is gone and you get the math. So that, in my opinion, is the only advantage of AP. It gives you an extra opportunity for a mark, but that's twice as many exams you're writing. It does not guarantee you a spot into the universities. Some people think it's like, oh, if I take AP, I'm first choice. That is not the case. Universities only care about the highest mark. They really, really do. Yes.
So what is the meaning for the AP and IBs? Like, what is it?
So AP is called the Advanced Placement Program. So they're saying they're a higher academic level of studies when you do it. IB is international baccalaureate, means you can go to school internationally. You don't need that to go to school internationally. But
Okay.
I'm not saying they're bad programs, you guys. I'm just saying they're choices. They're choices. So if you're adamant that you want the AP title and you want to go that route, then go for it. Knock yourself out. It's lovely. It's a lot of work. You're with like-minded people for sure. But we feel here at STEM, we are already at that standard. We're already at the enriched programs. That's what our goal is. We want to be the top. We want to have those marks to help you guys get into university, right? And that's the collegiate part. The collegiate part is building that transition from high school into university. Right now in your traditional high school, there's a gap. When you finish grade 12, there's a huge gap for students leaving high school and moving into university because they're not connected. As a collegiate, we are already started, like I mentioned, universities are starting to come visit us in March. And we have relationships with them on the side right now. We're building the gap between the two, which means we are working towards educating our students in grade 12. What do you need in grade 12 to be successful and accepted in university without that gap? So that's where we're bridging the gap between the two. And that's our advantage with a pathway.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Along the lines of supporting success for the kids, are the teachers offering rights at all during the span of a course? Like the ability if a child is unsuccessful on one test to be able, are you offering that chance and opportunity for them to rewrite that one specific test just to help them improve their grade overall?
I don't think I can speak to that because it's going to depend on the situation.
Okay.
Our policies right now look very different because we had to make some boundaries on that because it was becoming to the point where students maybe weren't trying the best they could because they knew there was a chance to rewrite. So we had to revisit
So I'm
something.
just saying like one opportunity.
That's right,
or
going
one
forward.
opportunity per theme. or
Yeah.
One week, because my
Yeah.
daughter's in grade 12. and
Yeah,
so
oh, okay,
they
yeah.
have-
I know.
She knows
too.
that, oh my gosh, I bombed my whatever chem exam it
Yeah.
was, I can at the end redo that one,
Mhm,
but I have
mhm.
one opportunity to redo. So I have to look at the tests and see which one I pick.
Yeah.
That's basically.
Yeah, and that's
what I'm
quite
saying.
common at the grade 12 level.
Yeah.
So sure.
They did it all the way through.
Okay, interesting, okay.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
current policy is based around assignments. They have there's a pretty strict policy now where it's 5 days after the return of your mark that you can make corrections on it. But it's not currently for tests and exams. It's just for
Okay.
major
Is
assignments.
that something that might
I don't,
consider?
we haven't actually had those conversations
Yeah.
about exams.
Nice.
Yep.
Thing, because there is so stressful.
Oh,
for
God,
these
yeah.
Guys, especially with how high averages are to get into university now, it's nuts.
Yeah.
So to have just that one sort of safety net where they go, okay, I really messed up on this one test,
Mhm.
but I have the opportunity to try
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
For this one opportunity, just going into the final
Mhm.
or the diploma or whatever the case may be.
I can see the value in that for sure. I really can't, I truly can't speak to that at this point in time, being our transition year into high school.
That's totally
Yeah.
fair. I'm just
Mhm.
hoping.
Yeah.
that Perhaps.
It makes a lot of sense. Like, it's a lot of stress. It's hard to be
Yeah,
perfect every time and you need those 95s higher to get into some programs.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's definitely, like I said, I can see the value in it. But just, I won't speak to it tonight because I don't have enough information to give you, but.
Perhaps just planting the seed.
Planting the
Yeah,
seed.
like I say, This might come up in our next meeting.
And, we can come back to that for sure, but yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Any other questions so far? Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say, I agree with the meeting there.
on the.
Yeah.
It's, it was fair for something, they had a bad day, it's not fair, a lot of what was going on, right? So just to rewrite one, it's in all the high schools.
Yeah.
Even starting in grade 10, all the high schools have it, so we appreciate it, but if we have that opportunity.
Well, we appreciate your input for sure. Like I said, we plan to proceed. We'll see where it goes. But any other questions about what we've touched on so far before we, yeah?
Student council meetings or anything going to happen soon?
Student council meetings? We don't have anything on the books as of right now. So our student council kind of shifted to student union this year. Just because we wanted to open it up to the whole school to be part of. So it's more student union as opposed to student council. Now, that doesn't mean, again, that that's not going, I think it would be separate though going forward. It won't be part of the student union, but we're just still trying to build a community right now. So we felt that the student council was just not there yet. So we kind of stepped back and went, let's build a community in the school first, and then we can add another piece as we go forward. Yeah, a good question. Yeah, yes.
While universities are coming over, is that parents are allowed to come over? Or
No. Yeah, so. So I say that really quickly because I kind of see it there. So this is what I like to do, okay? So I really encourage our high school kids to start advocating for themselves. Because in university, they have to, it's not an option. So in high school, I really try to give them the information first, work with them. And this is why you guys are here tonight, because this was the next step. Now it was time to educate the parents on what their next journey is. So I will do the same process with the universities. So the universities will come during the day, because we see value in that. We need to take them from their courses and educate them on the university applications and what their journey looks like. And then I will offer an evening for parents. And then we will do something where all the universities gather together and you can come in and mix and mingle with the universities and ask your questions with your child. But for right now, for the month of March, it'll be an introduction to the students only in the school during their school.
And it's gonna be all the classes, like grade 9s and 10s all together?
Just 9s and 10s.
Or individual?
Oh, no, I'll put them together. We'll put them as a group. Yes, yeah, just 9s and 10s. Yeah. Yeah.
We know what universities are coming or?
No, not yet. I'm gonna send out a calendar to you guys, so as soon as I have them all in, because I actually heard from 4 today, so I was really excited today. It's just, yes, it's being built and it's coming really quick. So as soon as I hear from my last ones, then I'll let you kids get to know first, and then we'll send out a letter to parents on who's going to be visiting. But yeah, stay tuned.
You've reached out to most of the Western Canadian universities, right? Saskatchewan and further west.
Yes.
Is there that you get some universities to talk?
If they want to, sure. I've never had that experience still.
And I have an older child in another school.
Yeah.
We've done some university tours and we were very excited to say we would be able to come to Canada.
Oh, well, send me that information. I'm willing to listen and learn. We have done virtual before, not from US though. Usually when students are going outside of Canada, it's more that they contact myself or the principal directly for communication. I have never done one as a whole, but I'm open to it. Sure, I would communicate with them. So if you have somebody in mind, let me know. Yeah.
And they're gonna be a different building from ours too.
Oh, well, is there going to be a different building for high school? Okay. My hope and dream is there will be. Because I think it would be amazing to have a separate high school and this building remain as junior high, but that's only my opinion. So we are looking at options and we are actively looking at options, but I don't have anything that I can share with you at this point.
But this coming year will be in this building,
Likely.
and the year after that too.
Maybe, because stranger things have happened before. I don't know how we pull together a high school in a year, but who knows? we pulled this one together pretty fast, so, yeah, I truly don't have any solid information to disclose at this point in time. Otherwise, I might be willing to share a secret, but I don't have any. Yes,
What's the max number for this building?
525. Yeah, so it was designed to hold from grade 7 to 12 with 525. So that was the initial plan, and this building would hold that many students. But we just know how fast it's growing, so we are looking at potentially making some changes there. Now going forward, when we're timetabling, 10 and 11 will be upstairs, junior high will be downstairs. So we are trying our best to maintain that other than options, because we do have our robotics upstairs, unfortunately, but
Are you happy with that? I know it's a hard, that's
I think it's
hard,
hard.
I know it's a nasty word. However, for a mom whose
Yeah.
daughter is like squished in between like a sardine and her high school, it
Mhm.
would be nice to know that the hope is to keep the class size.
It is.
relatively-
It is. So right now, we are very happy to say that our 7 and 8s are typically between 25 and 27.
It's just the nine.
The 9s and 10s are a little higher, yes, but again, that's part of being a growing school, so
Yeah.
we need students to be coming in. Now, our hope is that eventually, once we're established, that we can maintain that 25 to 27,
Is
right?
there a limit though? Like, we're
30.
not gonna,
We-
we're not
we
gonna go
would
above
want
and
to-
beyond, like, we're not gonna
That's gonna
have,
be a hard limit.
It's hard limit.
That's good to know.
okay.
Yeah, that's really good.
Because, yeah, we all feel the same way, not just administration, our teachers feel the same way. We see the success in the classrooms when it's smaller sizes. And so does Edmonton Public, they know it too, but unfortunately their mandate's a little bit different, right? But we do see the value in keeping the classroom sizes small, for sure, for many reasons, so 30 is our cap, yeah. Okay, all right. So just to carry on here, guys, this was just kind of a quick outline of what would be expected of the university requirements. So when you're applying for your application to universities, this is kind of some of the quick versions of what you could get into. Now, again, depending on the faculty you're trying to get into and the program, this could vary, especially, your bottom pieces here, that could vary depending on the program you're trying to get into. But essentially, you can be guaranteed that when you're applying, they're looking at your English, your social, your math, any of your sciences. Of course, these would be already mandatory, and then your options. So the STEM options are what will help you guys too for university, because they are going to be connected to those programs. And is this where I turn it over?
It might be. There it is, yes.
And now you can listen to Mr. Chase for a few
There you
minutes.
go.
Yeah, can I ask you something on the previous slide? When you say related STEM subject, means like, are we talking like biology for medical?
Yeah, and then like physics and engineering and things like that, yeah, like, so what, we can't stress enough, it's like, go and look at, shortlist your university that you want to apply to. Take a look at the programs that you're most interested in, look down at the drop-down list, it's usually on the first page, it's the entrance requirements, then you can see the courses that are necessary, because bio might not be necessary for engineering, but physics definitely will, so, things like that, so.
On that note, do they tend to change requirements or not really?
Not very often, I would say that they're pretty, like, because they'd be pulling the rug out of from under kids when they're already in their grade 12 year, so.
Just the competitive average will
Yeah.
change.
Average.
Every year it changes. I was really shocked the other day, I was looking at some stuff at U of A, and their nursing, that's,
Good.
unreal. Anyway, so that you have to monitor, every year it changes. Yeah.
Go in high and beat everyone else up, that's how you're gonna.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, guys, we're just gonna talk about the STEM CTS options. This is the part that I have most involvement in. And what makes our school unique. So one thing that Teresa already touched on was the collegiate model. And a lot of people don't understand that, so what is a collegiate model? So the way that we approach this is, if you've taken a look at our board members, if you've gotten to meet Lisa Davis as well, you know that these are very, very well-connected people. If you look at their bios on the internet, you're gonna say like, these guys have been everywhere, they've done everything. So they have a lot of peers in the industry, a lot of peers at the universities as well. And what they were talking to, and what they kept on running into was that grade 12 students aren't ready for the next level of university. There's a gap, a lag between the skill that they have and the skill that they actually will need. So the point of the collegiate model was bridging those gaps. And that's something that Teresa was already talking about. So with that in mind, and my job and a lot of work behind the scenes is reverse engineering, saying, okay, well, what do you need your students to be able to do? And then my job then is to tear apart the Alberta curriculum documents for CTS and build courses that will address this lack of skills. And then in this building, we have the commitment to the purchasing of all the technologies, getting the training, offering the activities and the exercises to actually get the skills to these students. Because it's one thing to build an engineering class, but if you don't have any engineering tools or machinery, then that gap still remains. So we really want to get our students trained up show them some passions, give them the expertise so that they can pursue and be ready to pursue further training in the STEM fields. We've already talked about the academics. It's going to be quite a high level, so we also want to match that with our STEM opportunities as well in the CTS strand. So you've probably seen this on the websites before, but we do have our content organized. Is it not on the website? I think it might be recent, yeah. So this might be it's like when you pull the sheet off. So right now, guys, these are projected into the future, so we haven't, right now, I have the credit layouts for the 35 levels, but we haven't planned those courses yet. And I'm not going to plan them until we get partway through next year, because if you guys know anything about the STEM and the way that technology advances, it changes so rapidly that if I build a plan now, 2 years from now, it already is starting to follow a date. So these ones are more to show the pathways. We'll definitely, if you take engineering 15, you will be able to follow those all the way to the 35 levels, so that you can use those 30 level courses for entrance requirements. It's very similar to the course, but there's just a 5 after everything. It doesn't change anything. They're all 5 credits, unless it says 3 credit underneath. So there are some 3 credit courses that are, again, a twinkle in my eye, and I have the CTS credits to pull aside. Right now, we have all of these 15 level courses running, with an additional one being added for next year, which is our marketing and our business management stream. We listened to a lot of parents who said, when are my students going to learn about financing, starting a small business, learning how to get a loan, learning how to check a patent to make sure that I'm not infringing on anything? So that's what this new strand is going to be for. And it will also allow you to branch off into things like graphic design and more of the computer graphics skills. But it's also going to have that strong business slant as well. We have our engineering stream. These are built out of CTS credits, so they apply to your CTS here. But more than that, they are also teaching them skills, how to use the laser cutters, how to use the 3D printers, how to measure, design, and build components. And this is where I teach, is in the engineering faculty. We have very strong robotics set up upstairs. We're about to get into the FTC, First Tech Challenge. It's a very advanced form of robotics. But our students, especially if you've been in here, especially if you've been through grade 7, 8, 9, which is what's going to happen over the next couple of years. Some of you guys weren't here for grade 9 last year. Or grade 8 last year, so it can be a big jump into robotics, but we are going to endeavor to get everyone caught up. But we will have quite a strong robotics program moving forward. Computer science as well. Computer science is one of those courses that can be also used for entrance requirements. Computer science is a very obviously important course to take. So these things, guys, we don't recommend that you keep restarting strands. It'd be nice at grade 10, you guys can choose your options. So you guys will have to judge whether you're going to take 3 sciences, or maybe you're going to double up on some of these options. But when you pick a stream, you won't have a heck of a lot of time to double back and try something again. Like in grade 11 or grade 12, it wouldn't be a good idea to go back and miss maybe the 35 level just so you can try one of the 15 levels of this, because you do want to get to those 35 levels if possible. We are building these courses, again, I really want to make it clear that we built these courses so that there is a nice bridge from when you graduate in grade 12 and you know you want to go into engineering, that you'll start your first year engineering with the strong academic math skills, but also you dabbled in and you experienced a lot of the engineering skills. Same thing with architecture if you go down there. If you want to do robotics and programming, those things are very closely linked together. You should take these courses to the end so that you're ready when you go to the university programs and you have the expertise underneath your belt. And already I can use my last year grade 9 going into grade 10s. Those students, after they've been through a couple classes at this school, compared to someone who just started at this school, their skills are so elevated compared to their peers. So I would put any of our students head to head against another student from Edmonton. And just because they've been in here, they've been steeped in this STEM program, their skills are just next level. So.
Pick two options. See.
Yep, absolutely. So, a good time to talk about the strands. So you do have to take this one and it will open the door to either more engineering or some architecture later on. The way that CTS works is that there's prerequisites that open the doors for further on courses. They're all 5 credits as well, except for the ones that are called 3 credit courses. And those have been assembled by single credit modules that I pulled from different areas in the engineering, for example, to build these courses and make them very applicable to STEM fields. So you have to pass all 5 credits so that you have the prerequisites to move on. You can fail one and only get 4 of the credits. But if you failed one of those prerequisite courses, we need to find a way to make that up so that you can then move on. But once you pass this one, to answer your question finally, is that you can take engineering and architecture as your 2 options if you want to. In grade 8 and 9, we're trying to get people to take everything. But by the time you get to high school, hopefully you've figured out where your lane is. And there is still time to experiment a little bit, but not endless amounts of time. Because you know that, especially if you want to do 3 sciences, the number of options you can take is a little bit limited in that regard. So we have our engineering, computer sciences, marketing and entrepreneurship. We have biomedical courses as well. And then specializations are things that we've thrown in to give kind of also a more well-rounded. Not everyone loves all STEM all the time, believe it or not. So we do want to give some people some, so for instance, psychology is one that a lot of students were asking. Can we take psychology? No, it's not a STEM program, but if that allows them to kind of like give that part of their brain a rest, those credits are still very useful for applying to different courses in university. So we have STEAM, which is where we have add the art component to STEM. Developing an AI intelligence program as well, so that we can try to stay on top of this wave that's moving forward. But there's lots of courses. So where you guys should pay attention to is now on the website, so you guys can find it, is these are fleshed out, scaffolded as far as credits go, but we haven't designed these courses yet. These courses are going to be up for selection by the end of the year. If you're at our school, you'll be able to fill out your selection forms near the end of the year, and you'll see many of these courses on there. And then you're based on enrollment, we'll see some of them might not run both terms. The ones that are most popular, we'll try to see if we can run them more often so that every student gets at least most of their first choices.
Just 2 things I just want to point out. If you're doing the 3 credit courses for options, you cannot use a 3 credit course to apply for university. It has to be teamed with another 3 credit to make the 5. Okay, so if you only have 1 3 credit course, it cannot be used for university. It will have to be 2 3 credits. Okay,
Combine them together.
yeah. And the
Can
other,
they be on different branches? Can
Uh,
they be like?
yeah, they can be other branches.
And the bio.
that's right, as long as they're both 3. Yeah, and they meet the criteria that's listed in their.
Psychology 30 will also be a 3 credit as well. That's just all this.
And the other thing is, let's just hypothetically say you do robotics 15 and 25 and you're like, I'm done with the robotics, I'm out. You don't need the 35 for university. You've already got your CTS credits, you're a happy camper. And now you want to try psychology for grade 12, you can do that. You do not have to see them all the way through to 35 unless you're planning on using it for university. Okay, yes.
First run, 15 and 25, is that needed to be by?
2 3 credit courses taught as one continuous stream this year, so it's 6 credits in total.
And CTS courses are based on 5 credits and 3 credits, and it's very different than your traditional course because that's 1 5 credit. Finish English, you get 5 credits. This one, it's 5 individual courses. So if you fail 1 out of those 5, you still get 4 credits. Okay, if you fail 2, maybe you walk away with 1 credit, but you still potentially could get something from there, but they're called module based. So each one of those 5 are module based. So you have the opportunity to get all 5 or whatever. Yeah, sorry, Steve.
Preferably all 5.
Preferably, yes. Those would be 3 credits each,
Yeah.
right?
This is psychology 2020, it's actually 2 courses together, general and personal psychology together, and that'll be a 6-credit course. And then that's the lonely leftover psychology for a 3-credit course. So this is going to be one of the ones that you guys, even though it's psychology 20, that you can take it in grade 10.
It's actually the first level. They just like to do that once in a while.
Yeah.
The whole plan, but Psych 20 is actually the beginning level. It's just like 101. It's the very basic. It's personality.
Yeah,
disorder,
don't think of it like-
very basic.
Don't think of it like grade 10, 11, 12. Think of it just as in the order as presented, and you can take a 25 level in grade 10 if we offer this term 1 and you want to take that term 2. It depends on how our schedule unfolds. So our computer science course currently right now is just in the robotics strand and the computer science strand. So in the computer science strand, it's more about the programming side, but that's where we would be able to add things more like physical computing and piece of image style thing. Currently, this course has already been planned and is running. This course is still, we've got the credits laid out and now the documents are made and the teachers are starting to put these ones together. So those are the types of things that we will definitely be considering adding.
I did one way where you started robotics and then you did 1 and 2 and chose to switch into psychology.
Yeah.
And it would be grade 12.
Yeah.
There's a reverse happen. So like if they take in grade 12, they've already taken say psychology 2030.
Mhm.
And if they want to do computer science,
Back to the beginning level.
do they go back to
Yeah.
the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do they hop in?
They
Like,
can hop in.
Please, sir, how does it work?
You have to go back.
Yeah, you cannot hop in because of the prerequisite system. So this is where my job is actually quite a nest that you have to untangle at the CTS credit level is how can you structure these things to open up as opposed to restricting as you go further down the credit thing. So being able to have the main prerequisites here so that you can expand your course options, but you must pass this one to move on. So this one's loaded with very important prerequisites so that we can build the 25 and the 35 level off that foundation. So you can't skip it, unfortunately.
Oh, I just misunderstood
Yeah.
because when you talked about robotics, you said integrate 12 psychology or those 30. I just was confused.
Well, you would have to take Psych 20.
You would have, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So if there's a black line between the two, it means that the first one must be taken before the second one, yeah. And that's also true, I suppose, of the course, but it's just the course are on more of a train track. You just take one and the next and the next. CTS, building these things is quite complicated. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, but there's a lot that goes into those courses and those prerequisites have been a beat in my bonnet. Space exploration is what's called a locally developed course, and it's a standalone. It's actually 15 and 25 together. We just call it 25, but you get 6 credits for that one. So there are some things called locally developed courses that exist outside of CTS, and you can't use them for your CTS credits. And that's an intricacy, but that's why we try to limit the number of.
Then it goes into the other.
It goes into the other.
We find.
Yeah, we try to limit those, and they're also, we have to borrow them from another school authority. And we just find that we're doing it better in-house. We don't like to do too many of those.
That's gonna be great, like next year, like.
Currently, there are students taking this year, space exploration.
I read that you said it's integrated with university and you said Psych 101 is kind of what Psych 20 is, so is it possible to get transfer credits?
So are you talking about credits that you take a course here, but you get a credit for university?
Yeah. It's
So,
a
yeah, dual credit system is something that we're not exploring. So our founder, Lisa, has had a lot of time thinking about the dual credit stream. And the numbers, I think, is it serves less than 1% of our students, whoever asked that, but yeah, so it's something that a lot of investment and time goes into, and it's very hard to get our students to the campus to get vetted for those credits. And it just turns out that it doesn't serve a lot of their students very well. So
Typically, it's after school hours. So during your school day, it's an extra course you're taking on top of your other ones already.
Oh, like,
Yeah.
so?
Yeah. Like your.
the dual credit system.
Oh,
Long answer to your question is that we don't have the dual credit thing. So none of these courses will prepare you for they'll bridge that gap between your grade 12 year and your whatever careers you want to follow after in STEM, but they can't jumpstart and get you into university like getting credits for
So it's actually, so Psych 20 is your first level. So that would, in theory, should be called Psych 10 because it would be consistent with everything.
I would have
else.
called it that if it was
But
called that.
It's not.
It's
So this
a
is actually
weird-
your beginning level, and
Yeah.
that's called personal psych. That's your beginning level for psychology. And actually, Psych 30 is the 20 and 30 together. So it's experimental psych and general psychology together. So you're basically getting the 3 in 2. Does that make sense?
For grade 11, 12.
For grade, you would, just grade 11, you would take 30 and that would be it.
Yeah, because that one semester, right? So in 1 year, you can take the 2 of them. It's one semester.
If we offer
Yeah,
them back to
we
back.
Offer them like that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the perfect world, I would say you probably shouldn't do this one till grade 11 and then do this one in grade 12, because if you're going to university and you want to take Psych 101, it's just a smooth transition. So that's would be my recommendation, but could you take in grade 10? Yes.
And so, and keep in mind also that when we have grade 11s and grade 12s, there will be more mixing and there'll be more people taking, especially these foundational level courses, because some grade 12s might want to hop back and try again. Some grade 11s might want to restart a new stream. All the grade 10s will be starting at the beginning. So we'll be able to run more of the first courses, and then unfortunately we'll have less choices about when we program a 35 level course, because less students will follow that stream all the way to the end. And we need to put, 20 butts in seats kind of thing to keep those courses.
Speaking of that, pick at the end of the year, you pick your for the whole next year, right?
Correct.
First semester.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
go to-
Yeah, and we'll do like semester 2 timetable changes where we need to. Maybe students have changed their mind, whatever. I mean, they do that, I've heard.
Yeah.
She's not even smiling. Yeah, so we would look at that, doing timetable changes for them if they choose to. The biggest thing to you guys is that the reason we have so many options for you is because this is the time to take advantage of these courses and try out the things that you don't know if you're gonna like. That's why you're taking it. You want to test the water so that you know when you get to university and you're paying 10 times more for that course, you know that you're gonna like it. So try out as much as you can. That's another reason why I frown upon spares, is because that's your opportunity. Instead of doing nothing for a block, go take psychology, go take business startup, and you don't know if you like it until you try it, right? And that's why in grade 7, we make it mandatory that you guys take each one of those courses, those streams, so you get an idea, what is modern media? Maybe you didn't know you loved it, but all of a sudden you're running around with the camera and it's amazing, right? That's why we force you to do that in grade 7, so that you're better educated going forward. So take the opportunity, know your path, but play around with the option, test the waters. This is where you should be doing it. This is the time.
Yeah, just thinking about just how I would approach this myself is I do have a stack of sheets near the back there that kind of lay out where would I put this in my schedule. Okay, assuming I pass everything, where would I put this? How much space does that give me for playing around with where I can fit the options? And it's overwhelming now, but once you put your English and socials, that's a quarter of your year there. And then your math, especially because you have to take to the 30 level, then you're gonna see that you have 4 blocks that you can play with for your options and for other science, things like that. And that will help dictate how much you can explore versus how much you need to get on it and pick a stream and go through it. So if you had the luxury of being here through grade 7, 8, 9, which I know none of you guys had, by now you would have really, the grade 8 and 9 option list is 14 one-off options that don't go to one to the next like these ones do. It's just so that students are kind of encouraged to try everything, a few from each location, so that by the time they do get to grade 10, they can make that informed choice. Unfortunately, you guys are leading the charge. You're the second wave through. So you guys missed out on some of that learning opportunity in the junior high level. But these courses are totally welcoming to all newcomers, and we're going to drag the net back and get you caught up, and then really help accelerate you forward in these streams.
That's what I was kind of counting up, like, there's no way of trying them all up.
No.
Can't try them all.
Yeah.
But if you're going to science room, you end up only doing 2 of your sciences, but you're gonna have some spots at some point that you can backtrack and go, oh, actually, maybe I want to try that modern media, or oh, I'll take one course in robotics, or, right? So fill your schedule and use it wisely, or maybe you don't, maybe you just say, I'm doing all 3 sciences and my timetable is full and I don't care about any of this, but I'm not going there and I don't care. That's great too.
That makes me sad. That's-
Yeah.
But in grade 10, if in grade 10, you don't have access necessarily to the next level of sciences, so you could take 1, 2, 3, 4. Sure, you'd miss the 5th
Yeah.
one, but you can then in grade 10, you have a little bit more time. By the time you get to grade 11, then already you're starting to think, oh, if I'm gonna make it to the 35 level, I gotta start focusing on things. But hopefully like grade 10 year was valuable experimentation to figure it out.
Since this is a STEM school, right, and you want your students to take these STEM courses, are you thinking about integrating Metro at all into your system? Because when I was doing high school, to be able to fit more courses or options into my schedule, I either did summer school or like the online versions during the semester. And so that way I got my social credit or like got my English credit, but I had more options.
You had more options, yeah, exactly.
You were on a very driven person.
Yeah, for sure. We won't be working with Metro for that. If that does come up where students don't have time in their timetable because they're trying to put all 3 sciences in and there's been conflict for whatever reason, I would educate them on what their options could be. And you are right, you could take them at summer school. The ones that I would recommend if you had to go that way are always your humanities, because those are easier to teach yourself than lab pieces, right? It's not ideal, but I would have to have a one-on-one conversation with that student to give my recommendation if that was wise or not, but yes, that is an option. Yes.
So if a student were to register into Metro, like that is allowed, like they will get it.
You'll get the credits wherever you go, for sure, we can't control that.
Okay, so you can do Metro and STEM at the same time.
Well, I don't encourage you
Yeah.
to, but if you did it, yeah, I can still be.
If the credits are credits, they're applicable all across.
Course. Credits, those are your credits. Yeah, but is it to your advantage? I don't know. I don't know anything about your story or whatnot. So general speaking, yes, you could do that. Would I recommend it? I would have to have more of a conversation. Yeah. So it's just another program, another school to take courses at
It's by correspondence.
outside. Kind of like just the virtual.
So if there's summer courses, always those like with this
For here?
Yeah.
I can't speak to that yet. I
Okay.
don't have a full plan on what that's gonna look like. Likely wouldn't be our course. Typically in a lot of traditional high schools, they offer the phys ed and comm. For students that have no intention of doing the 2030 phys ed in their school, they just need this for graduation purposes. So this is a very common course to have in a lot of traditional high schools during summer.
like 3 months and.
No, it's not even 3 months.
Yeah, it's shorter. It's
Yeah.
very quick, very
Yeah.
abridged.
It's just to get your credits, that's it. And,
Okay, so it depends, get the course.
yeah, I don't even know if you call it intense, but it's 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks.
Sometimes if it's English.
Yeah.
You gotta read a book a day.
I don't recommend it. I do agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you're thinking you're taking an English program that usually runs a whole semester and you're gonna jam it in the summer, it's not gonna be the best.
Yeah.
It's happy. Even though that's a better choice than doing science in summer school, but still, I don't recommend it, not at all. Unless you have no other choice and you have to do something because you need to achieve a goal on the other side. But again, it's individual based. I could not answer that on a blanket.
Now, for grade 10, the phys ed and comm is going to take 1 space from that, right? So kids should know that you have 3 that they'll get. Okay.
So what do you get options?
Yes, plus the phys ed and comm.
Yeah.
But you can choose to do that in grade 11, right?
The car, yeah, we are making it happen in grade 10 right now. Yeah, because
Okay.
that comma shame is not fun in grade 12. It just really is not fun. So you do not want to leave it. Although in theory, probably it's probably better in grade 12 because that's when kids are starting to ask those questions about life, right? It's career and life management. Grade 10, they really don't care. It is beneficial in grade 12 because they're starting to understand the language about what you gotta pay.
They're about
taxes,
to go pay rent.
You gotta buy a car. But unfortunately, it gets left to the last minute and it could cost you your graduation. So our fear was that that could happen. So we said, we're throwing it in grade 10. Could that change? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But it does concern me because I've seen it happen so many times and it's just heartbreaking that I have to have that conversation with that kid and say, you're not graduating, buddy. Like, and it's because of mom.
And unfortunately, this is a truism of all high schools.
Yeah.
If you're on the
Not just
four blocks per day schedule, and 4 classes per term schedule, which is what most high schools are, then we always run into this problem where you just can't quite explore the STEM, the CTS stuff as much as you'd like to. And
So back to the question about summer school, that's likely what we would begin with, test the waters about summer school, being able to take that out of their schedule so that it opens it up again another spot for either that extra Sundays or.
And so,
Yeah, no,
just the schedule for the day, it's gonna look the same as.
this year, yes, yeah, belt schedule will be the same, yeah, exactly the same, yeah, yes.
So hypothetically, if a grade 9 student was taking gym and comm at summer school metro, then would you still require them to do gym and comm in grade 10 or? Like, obviously you have the credits for it, so it doesn't matter.
I'm thinking in my head, but I also am not the one who makes that decision. So,
Okay.
what was your thought on that? Because
Well, last year we didn't allow it. We said you need to take it with us. Again, we're building a school. We want to know what our kids are taking. We want to know it's legit courses that they're taking. Going forward, as we start to introduce more courses, I could see where that could be problematic because of the spacing. That's a really roundabout. So, yeah, I know. So, yeah, so maybe, I don't like it. I prefer you guys taking your courses here at our school where we know you're getting the best program. That's why we said we'll start with offering this that summer, so we know that you're getting what you need, because there is value in this, as much as I joke about it. There is value. I mean, you guys are gonna have to learn how to do this stuff, right? I remember one young lady told me one year, she said, well, no, I'm just gonna have my dad take care of all that for me, and I said, well, good for you.
correct.
Yeah. And when you're in grade 11, you're going, yeah, I don't worry about that. My dad's gonna take care of it. But in reality, it is, there's value there. And we want to make sure that you get that value. And that's kind of what our whole image is about. We want the highest academic students getting the best education they can, right down to the mock class, right? I mean, because there is. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there an assurance of continuity between the whole CPS? Like say for example, or is it a number each? Say for example, if all students in level 2 in the CPS program decided to drop or move to another CPS program, then there's only five who wish to continue in the 3rd level.
Oh, with the course class? Like, we couldn't run a course with only 5 students.
Yes, so it's still a number game.
It could be, it hasn't been as of yet. I don't anticipate that it will be, but could it, in that scenario, yes, it could be problematic and we would have to collapse. There's just no way, there's no school that would run a program for 5 kids that I'm aware of. Yeah. You just couldn't, right? So could it happen? It could. I don't think it's going to, but yes.
We've done a survey and the most popular courses, we just aren't offering the ones that aren't popular. So the ones that we put on this list are the ones that are asked for by the majority of students. So we don't anticipate a whole swath of students dropping from engineering to go into robotics. So don't anticipate it.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we did when we started planning for next year, was we needed the student input, and we were really clear with them when they were filling it out. Be honest, be sincere. This is about your education. You guys are creating that path for us as we go forward. We need to know what you want, right? So we took it very seriously, the input. And we really encourage the kids to be truthful, and this is what Mr. Chase was able to take away from that information that we gathered, so. So we are prepared to change courses if we need to, if we see that, one term, something's really not catching on and we're not seeing big interest going forward with other surveys. We are willing to collapse that one and introduce another one. Again, we're a new school, we're building, we're listening, we're doing our best to give the students what they want. It's their journey. We're just here to give them the stuff that they need, right?
And the marketing and media one's a good example. Last year it was the least popular on the survey. No one wanted to take just the straight media course. So we folded the media. I got back to the drawing board and then I turned it more into a business course as opposed to a straight media course. So we do have the flexibility because I'm designing the curriculum in-house that I can be responsible for the needs of students.
Is there anything else after that?
No, I mean, I think, especially if your students are already here, they're probably taking a bit of engineering or a bit of robotics. They are getting a feel for it. The course names are fairly self-explanatory. The course descriptions, I believe, are on the website. Definitely this pathway is, and whether Mr. Shoops added the descriptions of each course. And they're all built from CTS credits from Alberta, so you could even access those CTS documents and cross-reference them, but I did that for you. It's a mental slog, so. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. The last thing, guys, this is our little, of course. This was our little chat about the university session, and then we got some scholarship things. So I wonder if it's was your intention to email this to people?
Really, I was just gonna, again, educating you guys. You do what you want with the information. I'm just letting you know that there's tons of scholarships out there. As you guys start entering your world of universities, you want to start planning for this. Okay, my advice to students that are looking at applying for this is get started. Start grade 10, have your booklet ready, wherever you want to store your information, and have all your scholarships lined up so you're prepared. Every year they offer different things. And that's not even included the ones at university, because once you get accepted to the university, they have their own. And there's thousands and thousands of dollars that never get used because people don't apply. Just apply. What's the worst that's gonna happen? They say no, or someone else beats it. What if no one else applies and you did? Guess what? You're the only applicant. You get the scholarship. So that's why I wanted to put that there, because it's really worth taking the time, and I encourage you to start it for grade 10, 11, and 12. Yes.
Can you get more than like one scholarship?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then
I'm
you-
up for all.
If you qualify, send it off anyway, because again, if you're the only one.
Is anyone here not enrolled in the school for next year? Is there any parent here from the greater community that's hopefully just trying to get into grade 10? If there is anyone that falls into that category, there's a small stack of papers this big that will tell you how to register for grade 10, or any grade for that matter. And there are also some planning sheets there that are examples of what you could use to plan your path through it. Worth taking a screenshot of this board perhaps to kind of see, or perhaps maybe
Speak with the students, and I told them that when we went around to the classrooms, I have a ton of experience in career planning for kids for their high school heading into university experience. So if you're just not sure, guys, come and see me. All I ask you to do is wait until I'm in that time to meet with you during midterms. But that's over now, so if you want to have a one-on-one, you guys know where to find me. It's students only, not parents. We're gonna let them advocate for themselves, and if they get stuck and they're in a bind and we need you, then we'll tell you it. But otherwise, yeah, don't hesitate, come talk to me. I'm happy to plan out your high school journey with you, and we'll figure out the answers together. Great. Okay, well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah.
probably unleash another 100 questions that they all have. But
There's a lot of questions. It's a big journey, and you want to make sure you do the best we can for them. So, thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.